when Abdul Rahim rahmatullah alayhi was being fed by our mother, so Abu told Ammi that feed this child with this intention, that you are feeding a future hafiz, a future alim, and a future shaheed. He said shaheed. And I wish I was in his place, honestly, because he's such a better person. The world would have been a bit better place with him. And if I wasn't around, it would probably be better too. But so these are things that our parents and people, pious people, they intend at birth. These are not things that happen by chance, but it's hard when it happens. Like it's hard. So alhamdulillah, you're given us strength. You went on this journey across.
Yeah, I mean, this journey didn't start across America. I mean, I'm sitting like a few feet away from where I first got the message. It literally like before October 5th, Abdul Rahman Waheed was a different person. I'll be honest with you. We have knowledge, we have all that, but it's different. There's nothing that can replicate real life experiences. To be honest with you, the justice of Allah is in the manner we live our life is the manner we're going to die. My brother Shaykh Abdul Raheem Waheed on Saturday, October 3rd, my mother asked him as he was leaving the door. My mother said to him that, "Why are you going to the school for? Today is Saturday. You were there Monday to Friday. Stay with me." So he mentioned something that I'm paraphrasing. He mentioned something to my mom, and he said, "Amiji," because Saturday is a holiday, a weekend. So he said, "Amiji, half my life is for your service, and half my life is for the service of madrasa." What's in madrasa?
Institution where the students study.
Institution of ilm, where students are becoming hufad and ulama. Students, these are abir sabil. They're people that are traveling. They're also talabatul ilm. They're students of knowledge. There's also teachers. There's an environment. There's a masjid. So he's saying half my life is for your service, or Amiji, and half my life is for the service of these students of knowledge. Okay, that's what he said on Saturday. Okay, he might have said hours, 8 hours here, 8 hours there, but basically it was 50-50. On Monday, he's taught in the morning in this institution where I'm sitting right now, and he drove to my mother's house. On the way, of course, he picked up the medication, and he passed away Allah took his soul very close by. This is the craziest thing, Bajan. If you measure the place where he passed away, it is literally the halfway point between madrasa and my mother's house. So Allah showed us that the way he lived his life is the way Allah took his soul. Right in between. Right in between. This can happen with us too. So at that point, I remember someone said, the medical examiner or the doctor, the detective said to Mufti Abdul Wahab, he says, "I know it's not something, it's not. There's no way I can put this. It's not. There's no. This is, your brother has passed away instantly. But if there's anything that I could tell you to make the pain, make the pain less, is that it was a quick death. It was a quick death. So of course, I don't know how that eases anything, right? I don't know how that eases anything, but he said it was a quick death." And he said it might have been only 6 seconds. 6 seconds. So think about it, Bajan. 6 seconds. It may seem like less time, but count. The moment you're going through pain and Sakaratul Maut starts, count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a long time. When you're in that moment, when you're in that moment, as you're leaving, I mean, I started thinking, what would he have said? What would he be thinking about? And I know for sure that he would be thinking about Amin Abu. Okay. He knows, inshallah, he knows that he did the right thing. He'll be going, but of course you think about your family. How's my mother going to tolerate this? I say to people all the time, like, the heart, if we could put, I asked Mob Aziz about a CT scan, would you put in the heart and you take a scan of the heart and you see the condition of the heart? But then I think we should sometimes, to the audience, we cannot do a literal CT scan of the Prophet's heart, But imagine if you can do it, not to check his blood pressure, but his pain level. Imagine, what would that heart say to you?
Man.
What would that heart say to you? Like, just the body might have been perfectly fine, but if there was a way to gauge pain in someone's heart, imagine what that heart of the Prophet would have said. Tu bacha bacha ke narak ise, tera aina hai wo aina ki shikasta ho to aziz tar hai nigah aina saz mein. Unbelievable. Ahmed Chima and myself, the Friday before he passed away, we were doing a podcast about the poetry of Iqbal, which is not, it's not, we haven't pushed it out there yet. It was just recordings. And I was actually talking about this poem. I was talking about this poem right here. What does Iqbal say? He says, this heart of yours, don't hold it, don't caress it, don't keep it together. Rather, the more broken it is and the more shattered it is into pieces, the more Allah loves it. Your heart is more beloved to Allah in the state where it's broken the most. So let it be broken. Who cares, right? So you have this. If you put this this little CT scan or a way to scan someone's heart for the pain level, it'll be unbelievable. So now, as my brother was leaving this world, he had 6 seconds. Inshallah, he was saying the shahada, but he was also thinking about the family and us. I'm sure he was. And what would we be thinking about at that time? فلولا إذا بلغت الحلقوم وأنتم حينئذ تنظرون ونحن أقرب إليه منكم ولكن لا تبصرون فلولا إن كنتم غير مدينين ترجعونها إن كنتم صادقين. Allah says, when you're in that moment and the soul is leaving your body, sometimes sakarat is a few seconds, sometimes it could last a few minutes, but you're helpless at that moment. You can't do anything. It doesn't matter what you have, you can't do anything about it. So that thing, that idea that made me think now, okay, so if I'm in that moment, inshallah, I'll be ready to go, right? I want to go. A person like that, those 6 seconds where Abdul Rahim, that's, I'm not sure if it was 6 seconds really, but that's what the police officer told Mufti Abdul Wahab to make it feel better. Like, okay, his death was easy.
Mufti Sahib, you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you. Yeah.
Okay.
So, at that moment, a son or a brother or a mother or a father would definitely think about their family members. But Allah in the Quran, He says, the angels come down to him, أَلَّا تَخَافُوا وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا وَأَبْشِرُوا بِالْجَنَّةِ الَّتِي كُنْتُمْ تُوعَدُونَ نَحْنُ أَوْلِيَاؤُكُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ. They'll tell this person who's leaving this world, don't worry about your family, we'll take care of them. And they'd leave this world with this good news that Allah will take care of their family. After this whole year, you just say that, look, how many youngsters, and that's what comforts me, and all of us should do this, because if we want to help our family after we leave this world and loved ones after we leave this world, then make sure our death is honorable, because it is a huge source of comfort, huge source, because now people can relate to it. Oh, passed away as a shaheed, passed away after teaching Quran, passed away serving his mother. So now all those elements help you and help the family heal afterwards. So your living was also a source of healing, but your death is also a source of healing. Imagine how much Allah has given our brothers tawfiq to be a source of healing. Like, he passed away in an honorable way. How many 22-year-olds in America can say that, they're hafiz, they're alim, they're teaching Quran, they were serving their mother, and in that moment Allah took their life. So for us, that's what gives you healing. So all of us have this upon ourselves. Make sure that we as people, we live our life as a source of healing for others, but also that lifestyle we're living when we die, which we're all going to go through that moment. Those last moments are honorable and enviable moments, so our family can be honored through our mention and envy our last moments.
One of the most kind soul that you'll ever find in your life. And I'm not saying this because I'm a brother. I wish what I had said this when he was alive. A lot of times that's one of the guilt that I feel. I wish I could tell him how beautiful he was and how handsome he was and how good of a brother he was and how good of a student he was and how good of a scholar he became and how good he recited Quran. I did tell him, here and there, but I didn't flatter him like I am now. I was always afraid that if I did, he might slow down in his progress and his education. great. As a brother, I don't think anyone could dream to have a brother that amazing. And part of that comforts me because people who are so good like him, the world doesn't have enough to offer them.
And so our home is the akhirah. تلك الدار الآخرة نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا والعاقبة للمتقين. And so Shaykh Abdul Rahim's home is the akhirah. He didn't want to arrogate himself in the earth. He was a humble man. That's his home. And that's the home of every believer, every sincere believer. And so we're just waiting to get home so we can see our loved ones again. And so if you look at it like that, you know, the dunya, you won't be saddened.
He was so generous, so selfless that one day one of the students here at the school was telling me that this is after he passed away, that he had a locker, and then on his locker he had his combination lock, and he had his code of that lock on the locker. So a student came up to him and said, "What's the point of this?" He said, my dad, he always, stacks me up with food and snacks and stuff. And students, they always want something. And if I'm not here, at least they have access to my locker so they don't have to sleep hungry. And they always can take care of them. So he actually had that thought when he was a young kid.
He ran hard. He got that baton from those who handed it to him, and he ran hard. He ran with dedication, he ran with passion, and now he handed that baton off and he's done his job. Because what Allah decreed for him to do, he did. He taught Quran, he taught whatever he taught. He was a faithful, dedicated teacher to all of his students. And so he did his job. And now it's up to us to do ours and to thank Allah for this gift of life.
I mentioned earlier, he had a locker with the lock, a combination lock, and it had the code, and he had the codes on the locker. And then one of his friends said to him, "Why would you leave a code on the locker?" And he said, "Just in case people are hungry, they have access to my locker." And I said, "What type of heart does a person have like this?" And then, just always around his audios that we are going through. Now we're focusing on word by word. He's telling everyone, "Oh, I'm serving my mother. I'm too busy for my mother. I'm doing whatever I could do to make my brothers happy." And I just man, I wish we were there just to, hug him a little bit earlier and to tell him thank you so much for everything you've done.
And we don't stop fearing that we're not worthy, and we got to work to be worthy. And the praise of people does not matter. And I'll say this as well. What a miserable takeaway if a person who has their mother alive sees that story, hears about how Abdul Raheem Rahimullah was picking up medicine for his mother, always serving her every day and at night, and doesn't bother to call their mom and serve their mom. What a miserable way to walk away from a story like that. We learn from the best of each other, and we seek forgiveness for ourselves and for each other for our shortcomings. We're not prophets. We are not infallible. We have mistakes. We have sins. We need Allah's forgiveness for ourselves and for each other.
There isn't a day where I don't remember you and your family, and I ask Allah to honor you all and honor your brother, rahimahullah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow you all to be reunited with him in the highest stages of Jannah. He's gone, as I've heard many great things about him, that he was one who always made khidmah for the scholars and for his brothers and for his family. I have this hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he has gone early so that he could prepare your abode for you and get things ready inshallah and be there to welcome you in the highest stages of Jannah. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen.
My dad always said, take care of your mom. Your mom is someone special, And a mother of belief. My mom said a couple of days ago, just 2 days ago, at the graveyard, at the grave of my brother, she sat down, and I usually give her space, and I step back, but this time I just sat next to her, comforting her. She really doesn't need like she's so strong that she's comforting us, and she lost a child. Like it's unbelievable. And she said to my brother at the grave, Abdul Raheem, she said, "I'm so proud of you, son. You honored me when you were alive, and you honored me after you died."
Allahu Akbar.
said, "तुमने मुझे जिंदगी में इज्जत दी थी और मौत के बाद भी इज्जत दी." And oh man, I was so happy for him.
I never got the honor to meet him while he was alive, but hopefully I can learn about him once he's passed away. One of the things that our shuyukh have said is that the sometimes the impact of the awliya, of the friends of Allah, the impact of them is actually more after they've passed away. So we hope to see more people impacted and benefited by the sadaqat that he's put in, by the people that he's taught, and by his story and what he's done.
Shaykh Abdullah, I just wanted to say something. The other day, someone said to me that since the passing of the younger brother, every post, every session that we see of the Waheed brothers, the shuyukh, they're always talking about their brother. They just keep speaking of him. And I said to that person that when you lose someone dear to you, it creates a gap in your chest that you can never fill in again. Some pains are never meant to leave you, and they stay with you. Some of us don't know how to deal with that pain, and as a result of that, the cavity of the chest ends up growing and it consumes us. While others find a way to fill that emptiness, and we take those emotions that we're experiencing and we channel them. And the way we do it as Muslims is that we recommit to doing good, contributing towards a legacy. And if one brother chooses to remember another brother and contribute to their legacy, then I know nothing that's more noble than that. And the other thing that you have to understand, for those of you that are joining us, that their brother wasn't just anyone. He was a da'i of the deen, a khadim. And then the third thing is that these brothers who live beyond their brother who passed them witnessed the power of the dua of a mother and father, because their mother and father must have made dua for Jannah for all of their children. And yet before their eyes while living, they saw one of them fly off to the gates of Jannah. Then on top of that, there is the sadma, the pain that's felt by someone who passes away all of a sudden. All of this put together, it hurts. And you spend years of your life just trying to forget so that way you can move on. As the Urdu poet says, Istara bi yaad na aa mujhko itne bhi aansu nahi hai rone ke liye. That don't just keep coming to my mind. Just stop coming to memory, because I don't have enough tears for you anymore. I've given them all to you. How much more do you want me to cry? And it's in those moments that you begin to realize, you begin to reflect over things, and you begin to ask yourself what the purpose of life is and what life actually means and what you want to do with your life. You question and re-question, question and re-question. And without that mashaqqa, without that difficulty in your life, sometimes you can't even reach where you need to be. As one of the mashayikh once said, that the growth that happens within a few moments of being tested by Allah cannot be matched by the growth we try to obtain through years of our life. So what you experience these brothers going through right now, these mashayikh, I want you to know you're witnessing their spiritual growth in a way that they are yet to experience. They are experiencing moments of dua in their life right now that is going to change the future of the region they live in. It's going to change it. Because when a person's heart is broken, and then in that moment they turn to Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commits to being by the one who was broken. Allah commits to that. So I just wanted to provide this context for those of you that are watching this.
And I also said to my brothers, the way Shaykh Abdul Raheem would call me Baijan, no one else did. It was like, it was so sweet. It was so sincere. Go ahead.
Sorry. In our language means brother, and John is like life. It's like my John, my life, you know? People refer to their spouse as their John. And I know that might sound a little weird for those of you that are not culturally familiar, but in our culture, showing that level of affection to your brother is a very normal thing. Showing that affection to, you know, your sister is it's a thing that people do this. Abajan, Abbajan, Bhaijan, you know.